Hey man, sorry I'm late. We'll be live in a couple of minutes. I just want to double check I just want to check a couple of things here. Okay.
Have some beer. Satisfy yourself.
I ain't drinking no piss poor ale.
Yeah, you are.
That's cider.
Here's
Okay, all right, just a little bit. How much is left in that thing? Put that aside. All right, so score tonight is going into tonight's game is Brad 1. Excuse me, Brad 0.
Which Brad are we talking about?
Brad's Ruthergin. Brad, he's undefeated, and yet he's undefeated, and yet he hasn't won a single match of these Jeopardy games for greatest of all time.
Strange. When I think of Brad Pitt. Should have seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, my friend.
Well, Ken Jennings is the one who's currently in the lead. In fact, if he wins tonight, he'll officially be greatest of all time.
Oh, really?
We don't have to worry about anything until we hear the music. When we hear that music going, we'll be live. So who are you putting your money on? Ken, Brad, or James? There's the stats if you need to take a look at them.
What the heck? James, because he's richer.
Not much. He did set the record for single winnings in one game, but he actually has the lowest amount of total career wins.
What?
This isn't beer, that's cider.
Would you like some Joe?
What?
Perfect.
Let me guess.
Nice
It's got a
cold.
sock in it.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm looking for a girl.
Ain't we all?
Ain't we all? I own it. It's like I'm the king of the Polex. In fact, I am the king of the North. Would you like some?
I just want to make a couple adjustments here.
Take a break, kid. How about a nice hot cup of Joe? And nothing's happening.
Yeah, this thing is going to automatically go live at some point, and we'll know it when we hear that cue. So do you want to, which top 10 list are you going to do? You're going to do.
I told you to clean your hands after a weekly.
Are you going to do
cross-training.
top 10 rejected categories or top 10 rejected TV titles?
Top 10 rejected TV titles.
Okay, just here's the thing. That joke, you have to read that joke verbatim if you're going to do TV titles.
This is where we ought to put a Keeping Up with the Kardashians joke. But we hate that show so much, so we didn't even bother.
Nice. Kind of makes you nostalgic for the old days when we would be at WXPL, right? Mid-Pittsburgh weekend.
One.
So
So
midnight shift.
obviously, I have to pay attention to this. Yeah. 1. Casualty. 2. The Price is Wrong. 3. Truth Shielders. President-elect Trump's favorite, which happens to be President-elect Trump's.
I'm just waiting for the damn thing to go live. When we hear that music, we'll be ready to go. And I don't mean the Jeopardy music. This is a show about Jeopardy, and as soon as we're live, we'll do it. Okay. Do you think Brad Rutter, who currently hasn't won any of the matches, is going to come back out of nowhere and reclaim his title?
I don't know, maybe.
I can't wait to hear what the viewers at home decide. Are we
And now,
live?
our featured
Oh, shit.
presentation.
Oh shit, we're live.
He happens to say that a lot when he's in a bad mood. I taught him all about that swearing, so he can give me props for that one.
Actually, I learned how to swear on my own.
Yeah, I got him into the group.
This is embarrassing. We've been live this entire time and it didn't even roll.
Yeah, that's
Okay, I
I
thought we were gonna get a warning, but I'm obviously new to live streaming. Good thing this was on my channel and not yours.
Yeah, good.
Oh, wait a second. You don't have anything on your channel.
Not really. I just appear from time to time. I mean, I just came back from work.
For those of you who don't know, we used to do college radio together.
Yeah, I just came back from work, so it's like I'm doing the midnight shift all over again.
Yeah. And tomorrow morning I'll be waking up to do Mid-Fitchburg Weekend. Oh, wait a second. That's right. Tomorrow's Tuesday. All right. For those of you who haven't been following the Jeopardy Greatest of All Time tournament, let's take a minute to fill you in. So, excuse me.
Strange. You look like you were about to barf there.
All right, enough of the wisecracking comments. Let's get down to business. So, it's James Holzhauer, Ken Jennings, and Brad Rutter. These three contestants are the three all-time winners in Jeopardy in terms of total winnings earned. A lot of us probably had been debating prior to this tournament being announced who was a better contestant, Ken Jennings or James Holzhauer. I personally am a big Ken Jennings fan. Of course, when my girlfriend Rachel and I heard the announcement of this tournament, and actually even before then, we were thinking about what if Ken Jennings and Jeopardy James went head to head. She of course said she would be pulling for James. I was actually watching James's first show when he was in the third position, and he had to explain to Alex what a professional sports gambler was. You remember that?
No, not really.
Oh, that's right. You weren't watching, but you were watching some of his shows during his streak, weren't you?
Most likely, but I mean, normally my only ambition is to see if I can beat him in regards to answering any of the questions.
Well, I guess we'll find out tonight at 8 o'clock when we watch the show. And by the way, we'll be off the air at 7:53 to give you guys some time to get ready for the Jeopardy tournament, because tonight's game could decide the winner.
Dun, 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 dun.
Now, for those of you who haven't been watching this tournament, let me explain to how this is working. Each match consists of 2 consecutive games, wherein the total point standings, they're playing for point standings, not money, because whoever wins the overall tournament will take home $1 million flat. They haven't announced the prizes for the other 2 players, but the winner in this best of 7 playoff, first one to win 3 matches, will be officially crowned the greatest of all time and will win the $1 million. And from the stats, if Ken Jennings does it, then he will officially take back the title of all-time winner for most money on this show. Now, each match in this tournament is 2 consecutive games in total points affairs, where game 1, they will hold those final Jeopardy scores over, and then they will add those scores to the final Jeopardy scores of game 2. Those 2 scores put together will count towards 1 match. Theoretically, someone could lose both games and still win the match.
In the long run, my theory about Jeopardy is this.
Oh no, here we go.
Test yourself.
Comments again.
Test to see how smart you really are. Once you've got all that cash, take it home, put it in your savings account, and compete again, only to, well, collect more cash that you can put in savings.
Actually, you know what? That's kind of how the champions compete. Because in the old days, what used to happen in the old days, a champion was allowed to play up to 5 games, and then if he won 5 games, he would retire undefeated. But if you retired undefeated, you were given an automatic spot into the following season's Tournament of Champions. And then the remaining slots left over would be filled out as wild card positions determined by the most amount of money won. Although generally four-time champions had the right of way going in there.
In the end, it's all about using your brains to make quick money.
Actually, on one occasion, the regular season had 16 champions, and there's only enough space in the tournament for 15, so they held out. So one of those champions was placed into the pool for the following season's Tournament of Champions. So I'm just going to throw out numbers here at random. So season 7 has 16 champions. And season 8 has the Tournament of Champions, but there's only enough room for 15 players. Since under the rules, an undefeated champion was automatically guaranteed a spot, the 16th champion was held over to season 9's Tournament of Champions. You follow me?
Not really. To be honest, I just watch Jeopardy to see if I'm good enough to be on it and eventually win that much money. Because gosh knows I
Here's something that you might not know about Jeopardy. Alex is not the original host. Oh, I'm sorry, not him, Alex.
Actually, I am.
Oh, for those of you who don't know, this is my friend Alex Krisak. Those of you in the Fitchburg area may remember him from the midnight shift on WXPL.
Normally in which I would come back from my crummy job at the dining hall, and it's roughly 11 o'clock at night, and this guy, my producer, who I fired.
No, I retired.
Fired.
Remember? I retired.
Fired.
I have the pension to prove it.
No, he doesn't.
There's my pension statement.
And surprisingly, I just came back from work, actually.
Not that work, a different work.
Who cares? They're both the same thing. Food industry.
You've been working at Moe's Tavern.
Max's.
No. You've been working at Moe's, the Emperor of Springfield.
Yes.
No,
you're not!
I had to make that joke because he works at a tavern in Springfield, Massachusetts. So I had to make that joke.
We serve lots of Duff beer, folks, so stop by the bar and get drunk.
Actually, Duff beer was... Do you remember at Fitchburg State where the commuter cafe actually was selling cans of Duff?
Yes, I do.
But it wasn't a beer. It was some kind of...
It was some sort of sports
some
drink.
kind of cream, some kind of orange cream soda.
Yeah. It would have been better if it were beer.
Matt Greening said he will never license the Duff name to alcoholic beverages because he thinks it might encourage children to drink alcohol underage.
That happens on a regular basis. So
Yeah,
it
but
doesn't matter.
The Simpsons is not a kids show per se, but he knows that kids do watch the show.
Because it's hysterical.
This is a jab at YouTube and the FCC for failing to come to a more reasonable agreement. That's another issue for another show.
Yeah. The only issue with Springfield is that we haven't been sealed in a dome yet.
Yeah, and you haven't had an old man predict the future either. Okay. But Jeopardy, way back in the day, and I saw this documentary on ABC, so bear with me on this. Way back in the day, Jeopardy was hosted by a fella named Art Fleming, and it was actually an interesting show because, okay, are you familiar with the quiz show scandals of the 50s and early 60s? Okay, what happened in those days was that all these game shows back in the day, a couple of them here and there were legitimate, but a lot of them back then were feeding the contestants the answers in advance. And it was causing a lot of bother because they it was such a problem that Congress ended up getting involved and they ended up having to pass a law to stop it.
That's a little extreme, don't you think?
Well, to be fair, it was beyond the control of the FCC and the FTC because
So you jump straight to the federal government.
here's the thing: if both the FTC and the FCC have to get involved, two branches which are otherwise independent of each other. Although the two branches are, in theory, answerable only to the president, or at least according to George Carlin, the FCC is answerable only to the president. But that's another joke for later in the show. I blanked. Don't you hate that when you're live and you're going through the speech and you blank? Remember those days where we would be live on the radio and we would be talking and suddenly we would blank?
Well, I never really blanked. All I had to do was start making wisecracks and crummy jokes and stuff that I knew would amuse people's ears because I was trying to be better than Jimmy Kimmel ever will be.
All right. I think he's gotten a little bit too much of his old on-air persona right now.
No offense, Jimmy Kimmel.
No,
But
not Kimmel. I'm talking about you.
Apologies to Matt Damon.
No. You spoiled my joke. You spoiled my joke for the end of the show. And no, Matt Damon, you are not the front end of the joke in question.
I mean, Matty, man, come on. You've been on the show multiple times, so why do you have
Jimmy
such a
Kimmel
grudge?
is watching right now.
Listen,
That's
Jimmy,
all I'm going to say.
Jimmy, I love you, okay? You are the man. You're one of my favorite talk show hosts of all time.
We're not here to talk about Jimmy Kimmel. We're tired to talk about Alex Trebek and Art Fleming.
Who even names their son Art? Art Fleming?
Art is short for Arthur.
Yeah, you should just go straight with that. Arthur, not Art.
He chose Art as a nickname. He could have easily chosen Artie. Anyway, so Art Fleming was the original host of Jeopardy, and Merv Griffin decided it would be a cool idea to put together a game show where the contestants were given the answers, which of course was all the controversy back in the day in the wake of the quiz show scandals. But here was the twist. They would be given the answers, and the contestants would have to provide the question. It was kind of like playing a game show in reverse back in the day. I'll give you a concrete example. This long-running host of the NBC Tonight Show was nicknamed the King of Late Night.
Who's David Letterman?
No, who is Johnny Carson, but you get the idea. Well, it's 7:20. Let's break down the stats of our three players for the Jeopardy GOAT. Yeah, hashtag Jeopardy GOAT, which is an acronym that they came up with for greatest of all time. They really could have chosen a better choice of words to not have an animal in the hashtag.
Exactly. That's what they don't get.
All right. So we're going to go chronologically here, and we'll start with Brad Rutter. At the tenure he was on the show, he aired his tenure on Jeopardy began in a time when champions were limited to 5 main game appearances. He won all 5, retired undefeated, with $55,102. That means mathematically an average finish of $11,020.40. Yeah, I know they don't compete for wagers in cents on Jeopardy. They have to be rounded off to the nearest dollar. On one occasion, I saw a guy wager 99 cents, and it was rounded off to $1. That undefeated streak earned him an additional prize of 2 Chevrolet Camaros, because at the time that he went on, undefeated champions won some kind of car or something like that. In his case, it was the Camaros. 5 tournaments, all of which he finished first in the standings, and his all-time winnings are $4,688,436 plus the 2 Chevys. Prior to the tapings of this tournament, he was undefeated, not counting, of course, that charity game in which he got beat by a supercomputer named Watson. Do you remember that?
No.
Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter faced off against a supercomputer built by, I think it was MIT. I may be wrong about that, but the IBM Watson Challenge, where the two human players played against a supercomputer. Of course, they did have bugs to pick up. For example, they were asking a question about an airport where you had to identify the city. They mentioned O'Hare, and both Brad and Ken got it right. The city was Chicago, but then Watson answered, "What is Toronto?" Yeah. Of course, the sneak only wagered $940-something and ended up taking the win anyway. But short of that game, Brad Rutter has never been beaten on Jeopardy. Tonight could be it, because Ken Jennings, who we'll talk more about in a minute, he is 2 matches for James Holzhauer 1 match, Brad Rutter 0. That's the score as they stand right now. I remind you that these are 2-game totals each match, and the first one to win 3 matches is crowned the champion. Now, there's one joke. I'm going to move away from Ken Jennings for a second. And we're going to go through one of our top 10 lists. On my old college radio show, Mid-Fitchburg Weekend, we would sometimes do top 10 lists in the style of David Letterman. And these will probably be separated from the video and uploaded separately on Channel 2. But in the meantime, we're going to just do them live. And this is the top 10. I will list off the numbers and you will read the entries. Wait, which one is it? Which one are we doing? Let's do... Actually, do you mind if I do this one?
Oh, that was more my style.
All right, then I'll have you do them. I'll just have you do them both.
Yes, that would be very charming.
All right. On one condition, I'll let you keep doing your. Rebel Rockstar persona just for this webcast. But the next time the two of us both go live, I want you to just be you.
Frankly, I don't exactly know how to do that when I'm either live on the air or live on YouTube.
But you can start by rehearsing a little more often.
Give me a break, folks. Seriously?
No, sarcastically. Of course it's serious. Why so serious? I don't know. Go ask that funny-looking clown with the green hair and the purple tuxedo.
Along with Heath Ledger.
I hope I never meet his crazy girlfriend.
All right, start listing the numbers.
All right, so this. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is the top 10 rejected Jeopardy categories. Here we go. Number 10.
Orange, the new blonde.
That's Orange is the new blonde. Number 9.
Number 9. 21st century goat.
Number 8.
Safe sex in the suburbs.
Wait, did you say in the suburbs or and the suburbs?
And.
Okay. Number 7.
Outside jokes.
Number 6.
Wheel of misfortune.
Number 5.
Dumb laws.
Number 4.
Disney's Play Mouse magazine. Sure, Mickey Mouse has a lot of fun seeing that.
Actually, he doesn't like it.
Yeah, because he's featured in it a lot.
No, he's not. For those of you wondering why I know this because it's a joke.
Continue.
Number 3.
SNL's latest skit, Desegregated Jeopardy.
I don't get it.
Well,
Desegregated Jeopardy? What, did they have a...
yeah, they had Black Jeopardy.
Oh, that's right. Not one of my...
See, I watch a lot of
SNL.
SNL.
Not one of my favorites.
I watch a lot of SNL. This guy, not so much.
Yeah, I'm more of a David Letterman kind of guy. I mean, I like Jimmy Kimmel and his unnecessary censorship, but that's another show. What number was that? Number 3, number 2.
Thomas the Swear Engine, featuring George Carlin.
And the number 1 rejected Jeopardy category.
Alex Trebek's retirement tour. Because, frankly, we don't really know what more he's going to do, and we know he's irreplaceable.
Well, we do know, however, that... well, we don't know for sure, but I heard an unconfirmed report that Dan Patrick, who had previously hosted Sports Jeopardy on NBC Sports Network, has been picked as the new host following Alex's eventual retirement.
But still, he's irreplaceable. I mean, whether they get a new guy or not, no matter how good they are, they're still like, it's never the same again.
That's what they're saying about Pat Sajak and Vanna White. Yet Pat says he's only going to be on the show for a few more years. So, Pat, consider this a formal warning. I will be coming to Culver City to audition for the role. Okay, fine. Vanna, consider this an advance notice. I will also be coming to audition for your spot when you decide to retire. Why not? Pat can do the puzzle board. His wife can do the puzzle board. His daughter can do the puzzle board.
Yeah, but they're the ones they're going to choose.
I don't think they're the ones who have the final say, though. I think Harry Friedman, the executive producer of both shows, has that job.
And the executive producer.
There was one funny wrong answer in the history of Jeopardy that always got to me because of who it was that actually answered it. The category was, I believe, I believe the category had something to do with double entendres. And by today's standards, it would register as a correct answer. But at the time, this slang term really wasn't being used in that context. And the clue was this. This term for a long-handled gardening tool can also be used to mean an immoral pleasure seeker. And the guy says, you know what the guy said, right?
Can't exactly recall.
He said, what's a hoe?
Ho.
No,
Something that
like
Santa craves.
I think I have one in the closet here.
I'm sure Mrs. Claus is one, or else he wouldn't be saying that
I don't
3
have,
times
oh,
all
yeah.
the time.
This is a hoe.
Yeah, it's not the time to be advertising gardening tools.
Yeah, not until Groundhog Day. That's less than a month to go, though, so be prepared.
By the way, Punxsutawney Phil always sees his shadow, so just be prepared.
Yeah, watch out for gophers on the golf course while you're at it. Now the actual answer was what's a rig, but Alex said to the guy that rung in, "Whoa, they teach you that in school in Utah, huh?" And guess who it was that said what's a hoe?
Who?
Ken Jennings himself. Kid you not. You can look it up after this webcast. He said what's a hoe. His Jeopardy stats are this: 74 wins with a main game with a regular season total of $2,520,700, an average finish of $34,063.51, a then record-setting $75,000 in one show. 3 tournaments, in all of which he finished second in the standings, and an all-time winnings total of $3,370,700.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I wonder what he did with it all. Maybe he gambled it away.
No, he did not. He makes a living as a full-time writer. At the time of his initial appearance. He was a
I'm
sophomore
not all
engineer.
that prone
He
to
actually didn't
gambling.
even appear in the following season's Tournament of Champions. Instead, what they did was they held later in the same season, they held the quote-unquote Ultimate Tournament of Champions, in which I guess a bunch of Tournament of Champions winners were entered into. All the previous winners of Tournaments of Champions were entered into a tournament. And the winner of that tournament and the runner-up would face off against Ken Jennings in a finals match. Like, originally, Ken was offered a choice of a spot in the Tournament of Champions and the Ultimate Tournament, or he could waive his appearance in the Tournament of Champions and get an automatic spot in the Ultimate Tournament final. He chose the automatic spot and ultimately was beaten by Brad Rutter, who at that time remained undefeated. But I remind you that Ken is one match win away from defeating Brad Rutter after, what year is this?
2020.
Okay, so
How can you
after about
forget?
16 years of trying and 16 years of frustration, 2020 could be the year that we see Ken Jennings finally defeat Brad Rutter. Or there's another guy that could beat Brad Rutter, and that is, of course, Jeopardy James Holzhauer. Now look at those stats. He appeared in less than half as many games as Ken Jennings, but he was less than $100,000 away from. Actually, he was less than $80,000 away from matching his regular season total. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Jeopardy James Holzhauer, who was noted for his not awkward, I should say, but he took a more aggressive gameplay style, going for all the higher value clues, which a lot of us might do while playing at home because we're not playing for real money. But he went for all the higher value clues first, so that when a daily double popped up, that he could wager more money. And of course, almost every daily double he made, he made it a true daily double, and he had this gesture that he did. It was like all the chips, or on one occasion he said all the cheddar. One time he said all the cheddar. I don't know why.
Maybe he likes cheese.
I remind you that James is a professional gambler in Las Vegas. He actually makes a living gambling at casinos.
I find that a very offensive way to make money because, as we all know, gambling is a sin.
It's actually not in and of itself. Gambling in moderation is acceptable. Smoking in moderation is acceptable.
Don't listen to what he's saying. Because smoking will kill you.
No. What I'm saying is, doing it too much is obviously a bad idea. But if you do it in small amounts, it's not good for you per se, but it's okay for you. But it's not good for you, but it's not bad for you either. In small amounts. Moderation is key.
I feel like I'm the one who's.
Are you trying to make this show go somewhere else? Or
No, I'm trying to be honest. And be honest, I'm like, I feel like a guy in those "You Can Quit" commercials.
Well, you don't have an addiction, so you're not eligible to be in one of those commercials.
Yeah, but I know plenty of people who do have an addiction.
Okay, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. But this is not a show about addiction, okay? Already it's starting to feel like WXPL again. Okay. So Jeopardy James Holzhauer's stats are this. 32 wins, totaling a regular season, 32 wins, regular season total of $2,462,216, with an average finish of $76,944.25, setting at least the top 12 records for most money won in a single game, including the record of $131,127. And prior to this ongoing tournament, he has only appeared in one tournament, which he won, bringing his all-time winnings to $2,714,216. It is currently 7:37 p.m., and we are going to do our other David Letterman style top 10 list. This one, let's just take turns doing this one, all right? Let's just take turns doing this one.
All right. So these are the most rejected names.
Top 10, not most rejected. Top 10 rejected.
Either
TV
way, they'd
titles.
probably be most rejected.
No, I think of a bunch more that got rejected, but that would be inappropriate for this list or for a show about Jeopardy. Top 10 rejected TV titles. Number 10, The Cheating Game. Number 9, Wheel of Misfortune. Oh, wait, we already did that one. Number 8, 90 Day Divorcee. Number 7, we couldn't come up with a joke for this one because we were too busy arguing about One Life to Live, General Hospital, and what other show was it?
I can't really recall, to be honest. It was definitely some sort of reality show that we find
We don't
ridiculously
remember.
offensive.
All right. Number 6, Who Wants to Go Bankrupt?
Nobody.
Number 5, Dead PD. Number 4, this is where we ought to put a Keeping Up with the Kardashians joke, but we hate that show so much we didn't bother. Number 3, Truths. I'm having trouble reading my own handwriting. Truth Shielders, President-elect Trump's favorite show. I say President-elect Trump because that's a joke that I made at his expense back when I was on WXPL.
God hide all that fake news.
You know something? I was actually in school, and I'll tell you about it later. What number? 2, The Price is Wrong. And the number 1 rejected TV title,
Casualty.
what?
Casualty.
What are we making fun of here?
Survivor. If you don't survive, you die.
Or at
If
the
there
very
are no
least,
survivors-
or at the very least, you get hurt bad.
Well, if there are no survivors, there are a heck of a lot of casualties.
Well, there was George Carlin's idea for a new show, No Survivor. One by one, a serial killer goes around and kills off the remaining survivors. I think the joke, I can't recall if that joke was in Napalm and Silly Putty or if it was in Brain Droppings. All right, what time is it? It's 7:40. We have about 15 minutes left before the Jeopardy Greatest of All Time tournament goes on. So, who you rooting for?
Whoever wins the most money.
Well, there lies a problem. The prize is a flat $1 million. So it doesn't matter which one of them wins. Whoever it is going to get the $1 million.
Doesn't really matter to me. I'm just going to see if I can outsmart him.
Oh, you want to see if you want to keep a tally of how many we get right and wrong? You want to keep a tally of how many we get right and wrong?
I know I'm right that I could beat him in an arm wrestling match at this very minute.
Prove it. You realize my arm is limp, right?
Yeah, because you're not using any muscle. You see, I've been encouraging this guy.
All right. Hold on a second. Hand.
Oh,
No filthy play. All right, just relax your arm, okay? You gotta relax your arm, otherwise
It
it's
is
not a fair
relaxed.
fight. All right. And in 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh! You knew I was gonna do that.
You see, I've been trying to get this guy
Staring
to work
contest.
out.
Go for it. No cheating. Hands down.
I don't do staring contests. You see, I've been trying to get this guy to work out for many, many years now, but he won't follow my strategy.
I've been trying to get this guy to stop eating chocolate.
Yeah, that's
I
impossible.
rest my case.
This guy doesn't like chocolate.
He
Has
eats
he
chocolate
admitted
like
that?
he takes to chocolate like a chain smoker.
It is true. It's an addiction.
I'm sorry. You might as well just roll chocolate powder into a cigarette wrapper and light it up.
He'll tell you.
Okay, no, in all seriousness, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
No, he'll tell you. Like, aside from how I make.
Oh, and I have one additional confession to make. The beer that you saw us drinking at the top of the show, it's still warm. Which cup was yours?
I don't know, but I'll finish the rest.
Wait, no. Pour it out just for a second. First of all, it's not even a beer bottle. It's Angry Orchard hard cider green apple blend, which I got him for Christmas.
It's my favorite.
But this isn't Angry Orchard. This is ordinary apple juice.
This guy don't like alcohol. He don't like booze. He don't like.
I can't
liquor.
even stand the smell of alcohol. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding?
I told you, you're not having the hard cider until we turn on the actual show.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I'm actually far more sober.
Hit me.
Wait, literally? Folks, should I do it?
Sure, go ahead.
You said hit me.
Please. Okay. Wait a minute. You owe me one free shot.
Go ahead. Make my day.
All right, look me straight.
That didn't hurt. One thing
He's got an obvious poker face.
One thing
He's got a better poker face than Jeopardy James.
I don't get hurt easily.
No, that's the first.
That's what I'm gonna be doing with the real.
Yeah. Of course, we had a big rule when we were back in WXPL, and it carries over to whenever I'm going live. No drinking on the air. Actually, you can't even drink before the air.
Well, you remember Spree Day? How I was had to be 100% sober all the time.
Were you on the air? Wait, Spree Day was the night before, right?
Spree Day
Did Spree Day fall on a Thursday or a Friday?
Thursday. Spree Day. For those of you at Pittsburgh,
Thursday.
The ultimate Thirsty Thursday. For all of you who are over at Pittsburgh State, be alarmed.
Oh yeah. By the way,
you will not get away with it.
By the way, I be alarmed. I think you mean be advised.
Be advised. Be alarmed. Either way.
Be alarmed means hit the panic button. You're telling people to hit the
People are
panic
going to
button.
be hitting the panic button because they can't
Okay,
get
don't
their
panic. Panic is the enemy. You're on your own, buddy.
No, people are going to be panicking because I'm giving you the truth here.
Harry,
You're
get me
not
down
gonna
with that.
be
I have
able
an
to-
idea.
You won't be able to get your hands on any alcohol on campus. So this is the time where you scream
Right
at
at-
the top of your lungs like,
You have
no!
a better chance. Actually, I'm not going to say it on the air because the FCC won't let me.
Yeah. 100 police officers on campus, state troopers, local, campus PD, local PD. Basically, you're outnumbered.
At least we can reliably predict that there won't be anything that crazy going on come Super Bowl night because Pats were eliminated from the playoff during the wild card week, no less.
So
First time since what year? I think it was sometime between 2013, but I don't recall. But
all I know is this. Tom Brady, we're going to miss you.
we don't even have confirmation that he's retired, nor for that matter that he's.
Oh, he said that he's
we know that
retiring.
he's out. We know that he's out for. Wait, is this another?
Retiring. He's retiring, yeah.
Is that when did they make that official?
I think about 2 weeks ago, per se. I mean, those of you who are watching. you
Okay,
can
yeah,
correct
no, your information is out of date.
me.
That's incorrect. He's going to be a free agent in this draft pick, and he has not ruled out another season, which means we might see Brady on another team. Frankly,
It's a
I think if
disappointment that we
Belichick-
don't see.
to be
Gronk
fair,
anymore.
he and Belichick are apparently not getting along lately. But Belichick would be. Oh wait, who makes the pick? Belichick or Kraft? Honestly, even if he is a free agent, Kraft would be losing out by not picking him around for one more season. I think Tom Brady would be better off retiring as a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Unfortunately, first he has to complete a season with the Patriots therein win another Super Bowl before he can do that. So that's going to be a couple more years.
With the Pats eliminated, that means no drunken parties on campus come Super Bowl night.
Yeah. And nobody screaming. For example, I remember my freshman year, they were all screaming, "Fuck!" Part of my Scotch. "Fuck Seattle." Fuck Seattle.
I remember somebody smashing a beer can, getting Bud Light in my hair. Yes, I had beer in my hair. Made my hair smell quite.
Did your pillows smell in the morning?
What?
Did your pillows smell in the morning?
No, they didn't. I know I definitely washed it out. And being surrounded by people who were either still smoking weed, slobbering drunk, and all of us just singing Sweet Caroline. As well on spree day, while everybody else was partying, while everybody else was supposed to be partying, thanks to the very reliable campus PD. Cheers to you, Grant, Fisher, Aaron. We love you.
Anybody else on Fitchburg State campus PD?
Yep. As well as the EMS team, my pals. I miss all of you, by the way, very much.
So we have,
thanks to them, we were the ones partying. The EMS, we were the ones having the party.
We have less than 5 minutes before we have to go off the air because we got to get ready for the show. All right, so one more quick rundown for those of you that joined us this late in the show. As it stands right now, the scores are this. Brad Rutter has not won any matches, so he's in a tight spot right now. James Holzhauer has won one match. Ken Jennings has won 2 matches. Tonight's game could decide the greatest of all time. If Ken Jennings wins tonight's match, then
he will be
this is it. He will officially be the greatest of all time.
No, he'll be a ghost.
If he does not win tonight, and if he does not win tonight, then all bets are off. It could easily be Brad Rutter, although it would have to be a hell of a comeback. Pardon my Scotch, but hell of a comeback for Brad Rutter if he can pull it off. But what's interesting to note is that James hasn't been able to get any high roller daily doubles because most of the daily doubles have been going to Brad Rutter, who had less than 5,000 total every time. The only 2 times anybody made anything big off the daily doubles, Ken Jennings.
By the way, for the end,
Ken Jennings made a 5-digit wager on 2 daily doubles and won out.
By the way, for the end of this, weren't you going to do something for in regards to Jimmy Kimmel?
No, not Jimmy Kimmel. It was I just want to do a little throwback to my old college radio show. This would be much more appropriate if we were on Channel 3 right now. But Channel 3 is a motorsports channel, and I know you're not that into motorsports. I mean, I might put some other sports on it eventually, like baseball, football, hockey, basketball, stuff like that. But for right now, I'm just going to keep it on motorsports. Although if I do start doing hockey, I will have you on the show. So with less than 10 minutes before the show goes on the air, we're gonna go now and we're gonna go get ready for that show. We want to thank everybody that tuned in to watch, and we want to apologize to Matt Crafton. We ran out of time for him tonight. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
All right, let's go.
Apologies to Matt Damon.